In the last episode, we were talking about Phil, and I'm just kind of summing up the traditionalist approach to filmmaking and really how hopeless and unpredictable it is. So today we're moving up to Andrew, and he's representing the plan that Rob had for this. Okay, so let's get reading. Now that you've met Phil, I'd like to introduce you to his counterpart. Say hello to Andre. Unlike Phil, Andre is not a traditionalist, but a filmpreneur. He chooses to build his life from the ground up around an entirely different strategy. If you pay close attention to this email, you may even pick up a few juicy tactics to use in the journey ahead. Let's dig in. For starters, Andre doesn't dive into his first feature right away. He doesn't even start with a short to use as a calling card. Instead, he buckles down for a few months to learn the fundamentals of niche marketing and entrepreneurship. He'd rather be creating, sure, but Andre knows these skills will be crucial and that their value will still compound over time. So he spends the time upfront to acquire them. With new skills in hand, Andre gets to work on his dream. So yeah, that's basically the secret tactic that he's niching down. And I guess you already heard lots of it by now, especially if you're also like in the niche or about YouTubers. Everybody's talking about niching down to make your channel most successful. It's definitely not a new idea by now, but I think it will help all of us to kind of dig deeper into how to implement it with movies, because that's not always obvious. As a lifelong martial artist, it doesn't take long for Andre to find a niche idea he's excited about: Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But he knows that excitement is only half the battle. He's also got to research the niche to make sure it can support him financially. So he does. So that's kind of what I skipped. My niche is clean fantasy with a Christian background, and I have no idea if it's financially reasonable. I think it has potential to have like good breakout, because like people do like fantasy films, but there's not really big communities looking for indie fantasy films. There are some, they can be reached, but yeah, if I would be looking just to sustain myself financially from movies, I would choose different niche. Definitely I would choose a niche that is easier to produce, cheaper to produce. But yeah, it's my personal choice to stick with fantasy because that's what I love. Okay, let's get back to Andre. He finds and makes note of dozens of BJJ communities, forums, blogs, podcasts, YouTube channels and influencers circling that topic. He even spots a few documentary films floating around the niche. Clearly there's huge demand, but Andre wants to make thoughtful narrative films, and he's still not sure if that niche will care about a fiction project. So he starts small and runs a test, which I think is great. And like, well, it's still he's starting with short films, but it's not just random movie. It's a targeted short film. So over a long weekend, Andre and a few friends from the local dojo put together a microfilm. It's a dark comedy about a BJJ instructor who resorts to a life of crime. It's just 3 minutes long, nothing fancy. A few weeks later, after cutting it together, Andre releases it online. First, he posts in a few prominent communities he's been participating in. And frankly, the participating in all those communities you will find in your niche was the hardest thing for me. I tried going all in on this path, and it's just hard keeping up with everyone, especially if you are introvert. Maybe extroverts enjoy it way more, but it took a lot of energy from me to keep active in multiple communities. So instead I just kind of closed down on just a few of communities in my niche and tightened relationship with those people, knowing that when times come I will regret that I wasn't keeping on top of the other communities, but knowing also that I wouldn't be able to make anything if all my energy went to just chatting online in communities. So I think it's very important to know your limits, and if marketing and it's not like typical marketing, at least it's very relational, and that's what I really liked about Rob's series and his courses and stuff that I took, that it's not just selling your soul marketing kind of, but it's a relation marketing, like joining the groups, communities, and just being part of it, being one of the fun. And I did really like this approach, but it's not something I can keep up on multiple fronts, let's say. Okay, so he posted this microfilm, but he doesn't just post the film and run. He asked for feedback. He asked if this is the kind of thing the community wants to see more of. And let me just tell you, if you are a filmmaker posting your film in any community or group or anything, just don't post the link without saying anything. Because nobody clicks on just, oh, it's my movie. You have to give a reason for people to click on it and watch it. It doesn't take long until his notification light up with more enthusiastic responses. He struck nerve and people want more. He posted it in a few more places just to be sure. After seeing his views climb into the tens of thousands and seeing the same gleeful responses, he's sold. He even adds an email sign-up form and has over 100 sign-ups by the end of the week. That's awesome! At this point, Andre got all the evidence he needs to go ahead with a bigger project. That kind of makes me think that I should run an experiment like this. Figure out something that would really appeal to the fantasy or enjoyers, fantasy fans, and make a short film out of that. Because mostly I'm just doing right now short films just to keep myself making something, but a targeted approach that would result in bigger engagement would be really nice. So I'm definitely going to take that into consideration. So Andre gets into the process of writing his debut feature. It's a continuation of the project he made earlier, a dark yet comedic crime drama, his favorite subgenre. When he tells people about it, he says, think Fargo but with a BJJ instructor instead of insurance salesman. Can you let me know in the comments how terrible a crime it is that I never watched Fargo? Andre knows that raising money for a project like this is a long shot, and he knows he doesn't want to spend months or years trying to get this thing financed through traditional channels. So he makes the decision early on to keep the budget as low as possible and to fund it out of his own pocket instead of taking on investors. The goal, much like with his microfilm, is to test the market and minimize risk. If this film's a hit, he'll go bigger on the next one. If it's a flop, he hasn't wasted too much time or money. So I really like this approach because a lot of filmmakers I talk to online are getting stuck, oh, I don't have money. They should figure out instead how to make film without money. Which is, of course, easier said than done, because when you go really down in budget, you still have actors to pay for, and that becomes the biggest expense. So that's actually what's stopping me from making a feature or a bigger project, because there's only so much I can make by myself with dragging my husband into it and kids. So I'm still figuring out how to make a movie on a very, very low budget, or just how to save up enough to pay for the actors. Instead of writing something tough and expensive to produce, Andre writes for the resources he has on hand. So yeah, of course that's the way to lower the budget a lot. Plus he understands something important about the nature of niche media. He knows that A-list celebrities of flashy production value aren't required to delight BJJ fans and earn their business. He just needs to tell a relevant, heartfelt, entertaining story that fits his niche like a glove. He spends more time in those BJJ communities as he writes. Sometimes he shares scene and character ideas, an occasional bit of the script, making note of what resonates and what doesn't. He tweaks the characters' plotlines and themes to mirror what people in the niche care most about. After 3 months, the story is so sharp and something he feels confident in producing well on a shoestring budget. In niche markets, actually, instead of celebrities, you can sometimes find maybe YouTubers, maybe like niche celebrities that many people know about. And if you've been for a while, like few years in this community, maybe you already have contact with them. He doesn't talk about it so much, but like that's something I heard about, I think from Jay Horton, when he made one of his documentaries that sold really well because he got a guy that was really famous in the niche. I'm in a writer group and we often share excerpts from whatever we write. And that's been like one of the most sure ways to make sure we each buy each other's books. So definitely sharing excerpts from the work you do definitely makes people care about your characters and gets them engaged in the story. After a few weeks in pre-production, it's game time. Much like his body feel, Andre's a master of stretching a dollar. He makes a $7,000 budget look near 700,000. The performances are solid and the dailies look great. After 10 days on set, the film's in the can. That's fast. Good job, Andre. Post-production takes a bit longer than he'd like, as Andre is doing most of it himself. But a little over a year after embarking on this journey, he's got his debut feature, and he's damn proud. It's a quality piece of work. Andre knows that the battle isn't over though. In fact, it's just getting started. Now it's time to launch his film, and Andre's got a few tricks up his sleeve. More tomorrow, in the next episode. Same time, same place. See you on the first Saturday of the month for the next episode of this show, and in between each Saturday I'm sharing updates about my projects and my thoughts and all the filmmaking things. Okay, see ya! Thank you for watching!